functions, features, capabilities, what it looks like, how easy it is to use, which it is. We do get a lot of high marks for being very user-friendly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm particularly interested in the features that go beyond just the traditional video management. Mm-hmm. I'm not, particularly fond of how expensive and complex it is to implement a PSIM in the traditional sense, and I think most applications will do more than well in terms of using a BVMS-like product that does, different alarm integration, and I see your, mapping up there and those kind of things. So
yeah, okay, good. So yes, one of Bosch's strengths is open integration, meaning we integrate at a very high level with most of the access control manufacturers. So Bosch has a page of our website. It's called the Integration Partner Program, but it allows you to drop down a window. It shows all of the access control manufacturers that we work with. So all of the big ones in this market, AMAG, Linnell, Software House. We have very strong integration with within BVMS.
And any alarm that flow through, say, Linnell, I assume come up as well.
Correct, exactly. So we can share that. Those points come in as alarm. Door forced opens, door props, invalid card reads. So that is yes, all part of it. Not only do we share the video, we share all those events also. If you look on my GUI screen here, you see at the bottom some events coming in right now. This is the alarm window. Of course, how I set this up can be entirely user configurable. I will click on one of these. I'm just showing motion detected right now, but this could easily be a door forced open, wrong time zone with a card read. When I double click on this alarm, you can see in my other window, it brings up the cameras associated with that alarm. The first camera, what we have is intelligent video analytics set up. This is a 7-Eleven across the street from us, and we have a line crossing here. So in a moment, you should see the vehicle go in there that started the alarm. That's what caused my alarm. And I also have this panoramic camera associated with it because that's looking directly across at the 7-Eleven as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
now, I noticed before you clicked on that, you had a map. Can
mm-hmm.
you pop those cameras overlaid on the map?
Correct.
Yes. You can.
So let me go back to my GUI screen here, and I am just going to click on the clear button. So I want to clear that alarm. I'm back to this. You can see these camera icons that I have here, and if I hover, it'll show me that camera.
Gotcha. Now, can those pop, though, based on an alarm?
Yes. So there's a lot of configuration that can be done here.
Okay.
And also, you notice we can connect to other maps. So if I have my whole airport and I want to drill down to that particular gate, I can do that. So I can create all these links. Another strong feature with Bosch, we, of course, integrate within our product suite. So Bosch Intrusion, which is, what was formerly Radionics. So we integrate very well with Bosch Intrusion. On my device tree in my GUI screen here, I can have all of my devices appear from my intrusion system. So not only do we integrate with the access control, but intrusion as well. We can populate those icons onto your map here. So yes, this is not a PSIM because it doesn't handle, building controls and other things. But within the security realm of physical security, yes, we integrate, access control, intrusion, video, and we can drive that. So, you could start with a Google Earth overview of your campus, then click on a particular dormitory, then go into the cafeteria, that kind of thing. So, yes, very, very capable in that regard. And when customers say, what does your software look like? The answer is, what do you want it to look like? Maybe in a certain security post, you just want to give them a map. You don't want all this GUI text over here in the device tree, which, you have a system with 500 cameras, it's hard to name them all. So maybe a map is the way to provide that. What you see on your screen is all based on login privileges. So the administrator would probably have all these admin rights and also the ability to do configuration, whereas maybe at a security officer post, when they log in, they just get maps and video. So very, very scalable, whatever rights and privileges you want to give to each logon person, logon post.
And in terms of that tree, is it all sort of, is it an asset or a sort of regional based hierarchy? So you could do like, if you're a data center, in business and you have 5 different regions, and then within the regions you have clusters of data centers, and then you have buildings, right? And then within buildings you might have exterior and interior and room number 12. Is it navigable by region, or is it just a flat list of devices?
No, it is navigable by region. So yes, you can, for instance, one customer comes to mind. They have it set up in an enterprise fashion. They have BVMS in, many of their different schools, and then from headquarters they can go in and you can drag out the lobby camera from multiple schools. So I could watch the front lobby from 12 different schools simultaneously. So those are categorized in your device tree, and you just go to each site and log and be able to do that feature. So yes, within each site, or actually within my operator client, other than the device tree, I also can I can create favorites. So maybe I want to, with a click, go to all my perimeter cameras, and I can do that very quickly. So in a data center, maybe there's a certain area, a colo that you want to have assigned. You can click on that, and you can go to that particular area, and all the cameras associated with that come up. So you can create favorites just based on however you want to group them. So that creates an easy way to navigate around based on groups of cameras you want to see at a time. Maybe you want to see a map very quickly too. And then once you're in that map, you want to look at a couple different cameras. Okay. So, and that's again within favorites over here in my device tree.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll back up just a moment, take you to the desktop here. So we have two main applications: operator client, which we are in now. That's the video management system, and then configuration client, which is the programming. So that's what I open up and where I add cameras, title them, and also do all the associated alarming information and programming of the system.
Do you have any tools in terms of the programming or commissioning that allow the integrator to deploy a large system more easily? So for instance, if you set up a configuration or a rule set, then you can copy that rule set as you go from device to device.
Yes. So you can correct. You might have a fence line of cameras, and all the cameras are programmed the same. You can copy settings over and make it easier to program if you have a common theme that you want to program. Yeah. So it makes it easier with large numbers of cameras and larger deployments. And it also creates unity within your settings too. Let me also show this. If you see this diagram, BVMS, how it comes packaged is interesting too. So we have these NVR all-in-one appliances. It's called the Dvr Ip 3000 and the Dvr Ip 7000. The 3000 is pre-licensed for 32 cameras. We kind of call it BVMS in a box. And BVMS is the exact same feature or exact same BVMS that would run in a 2000 camera deployment. So it's just a small form factor. This appliance has BVMS. It also has the storage and you can add a monitor and a keyboard monitor and a mouse to this, so it makes it an all-in-one appliance: storage, VMS, and control. So for a very small BVMS deployment, up to 32 cameras, up to 8 terabytes of storage on this cube. We move up to the Dvr Ip 7000, and it has storage on board that I believe goes up to 128 terabytes. It is pre-licensed, can be pre-licensed with 128 cameras. It comes with 32 channel licenses, and you can add 8 camera bundles on top of that to take it up to 128. So we sort of have the small, medium, and then above the Dvr Ip 7000, we would just have the BVMS Professional, which is the a la carte version you're used to. You buy your server, you buy your camera licenses, workstation licenses, and we build the system to scale to however many cameras you want. If you're talking about one facility, you want to find out where they see themselves, what is their total camera count going to be, and we want to design the system appropriately. It would be better if they knew it was going to be a 150 camera, 200 camera system, not to just put in 2 Dvr Ip 7000s, because now we've got 2 different IP addresses for our servers and our storage, and we'd have to log into 2 different devices.
So you go with your upper end one, I can't see the model number, and then you just buy as many licenses as you need. Correct.
So there's not a specific model number for BVMS Professional. That's just made up of all the licenses. Camera licenses, you buy.
But there's enough. So the question is, there's an appliance tied to that. At some point, don't you maximize out the utilization of that appliance and have to get another one?
Right now, it is, and that is a big strength with BVMS versus our competitors and how we manage large systems. And by the way, these 2 appliances, the smaller ones, 32 channel and 128, they come with 5 workstation licenses on board. When I go up to the BVMS Professional, the scalable version, you only need 2 servers for up to 2,000 cameras. One server is for BVMS, the video management system. The other server is for VRM, Video Recording Manager. And this is where Bosch really has a strong value proposition and does things differently than our manufacturers. VRM acts as a traffic cop. That VRM server is on the network. It looks at all the video streams on the network and directs them to the appropriate iSCSI storage array. So that's where we're different. We are doing iSCSI storage. It can be decentralized, so anywhere on my campus, in any building, I can put iSCSI storage. VRM running on a server on that network can direct, and it basically starts to learn the system and know that what cameras have what amount of bandwidth. So these cameras that only consume 500K of bandwidth, they're going to go into this storage array, and these which have 10 meg of bandwidth because they're a 12 megapixel panoramic, they're going to go to this storage array and this block of LUNs. So it is doing this traffic cop thing, but it is not processing the video through it. Most of the other manufacturers on the market, their storage solution is an archiver solution. So the server streams the video that is being recorded through that server. So even though a server might be rated to do 300 cameras, it might max out at 64 if you're talking about high resolution 4K cameras and panoramic. So there is a camera quantity limitation. There's also a bandwidth throughput limitation. So I was
going to ask about that. So, certainly a benefit to having, in essence, 2 servers and understand, what they're doing for large scale deployments. What about where you have bandwidth limitations? So if you have a series of buildings across a large region clustered in different areas, and you're just putting say you have the headquarters, you're putting those 2 servers in the headquarters, but you're calling your cameras from say the headquarters is in Minnesota, right? You got a bunch of cameras attached to a building in Virginia.
So yeah, in that scenario, we want to do decentralized storage. So we don't want to stream all those cameras back to be recorded remotely.
What about just live streaming? Do you have significant latency in live streaming when you're decentralized like that?
Just depends on the connection speed, and how much bandwidth we're trying to put through that. So we certainly can do that, and that's the way that architecture would be designed. That I can then go to that site and view live video or playback recorded video based on my connection speed, throughput, upload speed, that kind of thing. So it's going to be kind of best effort based on my connection. Any of their schools, and they're doing their recording there, and of course they have the ability locally to live view, playback, export. But it's also set up in an enterprise fashion where from operator client on a workstation at headquarters in Arlington, the security director can log into any camera, pull video, watch recorded video, and export. And of course, that's just based on their connection speed and how many cameras they can see simultaneously, that kind of thing. But having BVMS deployed in this different architecture, meaning a small cube for 32 cameras, a 7,000 for up to 128 cameras, which also, by the way, the 7,000 gives us RAID capability, RAID 5, whereas 3,000 is just JBOD. So in an enterprise, like you were talking about, several locations around the country, I can have these Dvr Ip appliances out there if they're small camera counts, basically, and then have an enterprise fashion of viewing that. So I don't have to put in BVMS Professional and do a server and all the licenses and set that all up at every remote site. I can just put in my box here and all up at every remote site and just use operator client in an enterprise fashion to view all those remote locations. So yeah, it makes for a nice deployment in that fashion.
Yeah. I assume you can do more than just a quad. I think I saw it in Riyadh, right? You can do as many cameras as you need. Can you talk to me about some customers like to have their joystick for pan tilt zoom control? I see you have your virtual joystick here. Can you, in essence, connect the physical joystick and have that sort of associated to the rights of the user, right? To what cameras they're allowed to see.
100%. So we assign what cameras they can view. Can they control them? Can they pan tilt and zoom them? And do we want a keyboard attached to that workstation? So, some people prefer mouse on screen. You can see I'm using my mouse to control it on screen. So just directional arrow allows me to drag the video in the direction I want to view. Or, as you saw, the virtual keyboard in the bottom left corner, I can use that to zoom in and zoom out, pan and tilt. Or have the barrel-shaped joystick sitting right on the desktop. So per workstation location, whatever that operator wants to use, absolutely. We get both preferences, but the good news is we can provide whatever they care for. You saw the maximum number of screens, I think, were 5 by 5. Obviously, when we talk about IP video, when we talk about bandwidth, and the resolution is getting greater, I wouldn't say you could actually populate 25 video unless you have them scaled down. The HP workstations we use are very high performance, very powerful processing power, very robust graphics card. I mean, they're operator client PCs these days have to be darn near a video gaming PC for all the video and bandwidth. So, but even then, I don't know if you can get 25 4K cameras. I promise you probably can't. But because that's always a challenge in our world. The customer has 100 cameras; they want 100 cameras up on monitors.
I forgot to ask a question. You're sort of going through the licensing construct. Do you charge any licensing for any of the integration? So integrating, Linnell or anything like that? Is there a license charge for that, or if you integrated a radar or whatever?
We do not. So the only thing we charge for on integration is on the Bosch intrusion panels. There is a intrusion license to bring in a panel. So there's, if you have 5 buildings and 5 panels, you would need 5 of those licenses added. Interesting though, those DVRs that I showed you, our NVRs rather, our NVRs, BVMS in a box, they do not have SMA licenses associated with them. So kind of a nice, if you have a 128 camera or less system, that's a nice feature with those. There's no ongoing cost for that. Other than that, with our VMS GUI, what I've showed you here is live view. And a couple other things in live view. I can print an image. If I see something going on, I can immediately print to a network printer. I can save a snapshot as well to the desktop. So right now you see this camera is highlighted yellow along the border. That's my active image. When I click on this screen, that's the active image. So when I hit snapshot or print, that's what I'm printing. This is where I create favorites. If I like these 4 cameras, I can assign them to a favorite. The only other main thing with my live view screen here is I can get rid of the GUI text and make it full screen just by clicking on those icons. Playback is basically just like live view. I've got my device tree. When I bring out a camera, you see down below, I have the striped recording of that camera. So I can go back to 3 a.m., click on that camera, and there's my Bosch Starlight camera. These are pretty amazing cameras.
Yeah. You might have mentioned this before, but you currently have 2 screens up. Can you do more than 2 screens? In essence, you could have full screen on one, like you've got a quad on the next, you've got another quad on the next.
Correct. So our workstations, HP workstations, have 4 monitor capability. So yes, you can set those up how you want. Maybe one of them is alarming, showing that alarming cue that I showed you. Maybe one is a dynamic mapping. Maybe the other one is just for showing me 16 cameras that I find really important. Yes, so you can set that up however you like.
So you can do up to 4, you said?
Up to 4, correct.
As you're setting them up, that it appears that you're driving everything by the left screen, right? On the right screen.
I'm driving it from my the left screen, correct.
Okay, so you would drive all 4 of those from the left screen?
Correct.
Okay, that's great.
That's my operator client homepage. So Bosch makes a 180 and a 360 panoramic. So this is the warped view. Obviously that doesn't do us a lot of good, but I can drag cameos from within there and then panoramic, I can pan within that view, and I can be watching several different areas at the same time with one camera.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it's a 12 megapixel camera. It also is there's a 360 for ceiling mount. But one camera just can cover a very large area, situational awareness. We have people, some facilities putting these cameras in over, at the intersection of hallways, well, wherever. There's lots of opportunity for that. And it's good to point out, while I'm showing you BVMS, which allows Bosch to have an end-to-end solution, you can, have all of our cameras and our VMS, which a lot of customers have been burned by the best of breed, because even though everything works together, it's kind of a pain. If you want to add a new camera, you've got to keep everything always upgraded to be able to use the latest technology. So we do offer a very phenomenal end-to-end solution, but We also integrate and partner very well with all of the main VMS manufacturers. On that integration partner page I was telling you about, drop-down window, it also lists not only all the access control manufacturers, but all the VMS manufacturers. So if you went to, let's say, Milestone, we list there all of our cameras, what firmware version has been tested, and what feature you get. Meaning, can I see IVA events in Genetec? And the short answer is yes. So not only do I get an alert, but I get an alert that it was a line crossing in this direction. So our stance is we do not care if it's an all Bosch solution or if the customer prefers ONSSI or whomever.
I think that answers, most of my questions. It's a really cool product. I mean, end to end, I always liked your guys' stuff, and that's why I wanted to get reintroduced. And there's a lot of things I always liked about BVMS, and it looks like you've made it prettier and a bit more dynamic, and there's more integration going on. And like I said at the onset of the call, what I like about it is, for the price of a VMS, you've got a pretty robust VMS plus, in essence, the other electronic security systems integrations that customers want to see without having to do an expensive, complex, customized piece of implementation.